My name is Desi Danganan. I am the proprietor of the Summit Cafe. The Summit, the simple tagline is an art bar cafe, but it's much more than that. The Summit is, designed to be a third space, and the idea of a third space was popularized by this author named Ray Oldenburg. He wrote this book called The Great Good Place, and he was a sociologist. And in his studies, he figured out that in humanity we have three spaces. We have our first space, which is our home. Our second space is our work, and the third space is the most important space because as social creatures, we need to gather, and the third spaces, the ones of most importance, were the ones where people converged and coalesced and came up with great ideas. And third space manifests itself in different ways. Like it could be a pub in England, it could be a piazza in Italy, it could be a cafe in France, or it could be a coffee shop in Morocco. So our intent is to be the ultimate third space in San Francisco. When you walk into the Summit, one of the first things you notice is the cafe, and then outside of the cafe you'll notice a mezzanine and a beautiful sweeping wall that reveals an office space. And so IO Ventures is a venture fund that was started by the founders of MySpace, BitTorrent, and AreYouHotOrNot.com. So these guys have made their money in the .com world, and we pulled their money together and created like a unique venture fund that also has an incubator as well. So every 4 months they take in new ideas, new applicants from the internet, take in 5 companies, we give them seed funding, we give them mentorship, and at the end of their term they have something called Demo Day, where they show the new technologies or apps or websites they're working on in hopes of getting more funding so they can continue to grow their business or develop their technology. They do have a stake in the cafe as well. Our role is to be the inviting public face so that the techies here feel like they're not working in a void, but they're working in a greater community of other like minds. A couple of things that makes this summit unique is one, we have a art gallery program. I mean, there's a lot of cafes who throw art on the wall and say they're an art gallery, but they're not. We have a very specific focus in our art gallery. Focus is on the applied visual arts, where art where form follows function. So, that could be like graphic design, industrial design, fashion design. So every 4 to 6 weeks we're going to have art exhibitions, totally rearrange the cafe for the opening day, so it'll be a legitimate art expo. We actually have an iPhone app that's being released for our gallery. So take, for example, our first show is called 33 and the Third, which is album art, an album art show. So, we have all this album art that we're asking all different curators and designers and whatnot to choose to portray the idea of a third space or future utopia. But when you see album art on the wall, it's kind of strange because you can't really hear the music. So we have this iPhone app that's going to be coming out where you take your phone, there's going to be a barcode next to the record album. You take a picture of the barcode and it brings up the curator's thoughts about the album, and interview listings on iTunes so you can actually download the tracks. Another thing that makes the summit unique is we're actually taking a nod from IO Ventures, and we're actually trying to help incubate other artisan chefs and craftsmen in the Bay Area, because there's so many people in the Bay Area that are really into food. So much so that we've taken our food culture out into the streets, so we have this burgeoning kind of street food culture. So we're trying to help them have access to retail outlets. So our pastry chef is incubated, our dessert chef is incubated, and they rotate every 4 months. And the way we kind of try to gather everybody together is creating a very unique environment and creating different interaction points for people to come together. It could be third wave coffee with Blue Bottle. It could be loose leaf tea. It could be our modern brasserie menu. It could be our art program. It could be technology with IO Ventures. So all of those different things are different crafts. And San Francisco is about craft culture.